Hello, all you crypto fans, and have we got some good news for you? That's right, Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF news as well. Even though they did not accept a Bitcoin ETF today, we know it's getting very close because the SEC and their mighty leader, Gary Gensler, has told exchanges to prepare for them in one way or another. So they're actually engaging with exchanges and has advised them to file amendments in the next couple of weeks. That's not like Blackrock or Fidelity, that's the exchanges. That's kind of strange to me. I guess like with Coinbase, it should be the custodian. So I see why they would do that for Coinbase, but I'm not really sure why for these exchanges, because I guess the exchanges will list the ETFs as well, but the ETFs are actually securities, and I don't know if any of the exchanges actually have a securities license. So I find that kind of strange, but this is just another clue that the SEC is getting oh so very close to allowing the ETF, and people have actually caught on. You know, despite them not actually allowing ETFs today, the market did not go down because it's very unlikely people will sell because of that, because people know that the ETFs are coming sooner rather than later. It's just really a matter of when, and you're not going to sell when you know those ETFs are coming within 2 months. Now, it's probably going to take a few weeks for the exchanges to file, and then like things will get ready by the end of the year, and then bam, early next year, yes, they'll basically accept an ETF at the beginning of the year. That's, I think, what the timeline is for the SEC. They want to delay it as long as possible, so they'll need the companies themselves to file amendments, which they have done, and then they want the exchanges to file amendments in the next couple of weeks, and that will stretch out to Christmas and the end of the year. And then Santa Claus will visit Gary Gensler and give him a lump of coal, and that will be the signal for him to actually accept ETFs after the new year. Maybe it'll be a Christmas present, and in that week between Christmas and New Year, he'll approve it, but that's kind of unlikely seeing the way that business goes. So this is actually being reported by Eric Balchunas, and Eric Balchunas has gained a little bit of credibility since that whole XRP ETF thing, where he said, yeah, I did talk to someone within BlackRock, and they did tell me that they did not actually file an XRP ETF, and he was actually right about that, because in the end, that ETF did turn out to be completely fake. So Balchunas has gotten himself a little bit of credibility since that point. But yes, they have actually told, the SEC has actually told exchanges to actually file amendments to get that ETF on the road. Also, they've also said he's heard that the SEC's Trading and Markets Division engaged with exchanges earlier this week on a spot Bitcoin ETF 19B-4S and is advising them they liked the ETFs to do cash for crates versus in-kind, and has asked them to get in amendments in the next couple of weeks. This isn't unexpected, but a good sign nonetheless. They're just getting all their ducks in a line, making sure this ETF thing goes very, very smoothly. And of course, someone is speculating that the Coinbase integration is actually slowing the ETF approval because, you know, these regulators are having second thoughts about these guys being both a crypto exchange and someone who's custodying for the ETF, although I think that fear is completely unfounded. So like this guy's BitGo CEO, Mike Belch, maybe he's a competitor to Coinbase and he doesn't want Coinbase getting all the attention because everyone and their mother is asking Coinbase to be their custodian, so he doesn't want to be pushed out of the picture. He's expressed reservations about the likelihood of U.S. Securities Exchange Commission approving spot Bitcoin ETF applications due to Coinbase integration as both an exchange as a custodian. Belch argues that the risks associated with Coinbase's multifaceted role have not been fully understood, potentially leading to further rejections before positive news emerges. Well, I don't think so. I think we'll find out by the January 9th or 10th that they will start approving these ETFs. In a recent interview with Bloomberg, he shared his thoughts on the state of the Bitcoin ETF applications and their challenges, while expressing optimism and acknowledging positive conversations between the applicants and the SEC. And it's not just the applicants in the SEC, it's exchanges in the SEC. So the thing is, like, the exchanges, not applicants, and the SEC talking to the exchanges signals a strong willingness or a preparation to actually accept these ETFs. So like this guy does cite Gensler's emphasis on separating exchanges from custody. So I think like maybe Coinbase Custody and Coinbase Exchange will be two different divisions, but I don't really know how many other custodians there is. And he's drawing parallels on how the equity market operates. He also alludes to Coinbase's role as an exchange, custodian, and broker-dealer. So basically, he has concerns from all this stuff, but I do think like with the SEC's like signals so far, them actually engaging with not just the filers, but the exchanges to actually get their ducks in a row to prepare for this ETF, I'm pretty sure that we're going to get an ETF within the next couple of months. And of course, what are these cash creates that the SEC wants? So like, I don't think the SEC would tell the exchanges to actually do this if they weren't about to approve. So basically that the securities regulators are instructing spot Bitcoin ETF applicants to handle funds in a specific way. Hearing chatter engaged with exchanges this week on spot Bitcoin ETF 19B4s is advising them they like the ETFs to do cash creates versus in kind and has asked them to get in amendments in the next couple of weeks. So basically, in an in-kind creation, participating firm or institution would deliver matching assets, in this case, Bitcoin, and receive shares of the spot Bitcoin ETF in return. In a cash create, the participant would instead deliver cash to receive shares of the ETF. So basically, essentially, like you just pay cash for the ETFs instead of delivering matching assets. So basically, I don't know if he's trying to make it harder or not. So he's basically forcing them to basically deliver cash instead of matching assets. So he wants it to be backed with cash. I can sort of understand that. He wants it to all center around the US dollar. Maybe evil, maybe like, behind in times, but a reasonable expectation from Gary Gensler. I actually don't care if they do in-kind or cash creates, as long as they get a Bitcoin ETF through. So he's estimated that only 2 or 3 of the current Bitcoin ETFs applicants plan to do cash creates prior to the rumor, but I think everyone is going to do now. So this is another way for them to kind of delay it because I don't think all of them had the ability or the funds to do cash creates, but they will now. So Balchunas said the current development does not change his prediction that there is a 90% chance that spot Bitcoin ETF approval by January, and he called this a good sign. So basically, the SEC is making out all these demands, but as their demands are actually being fulfilled, they don't really have a good reason to deny the ETF anymore. So that's why we all think it's generally a pretty good development. So very, very cool. Very, very cool. Fidelity has joined Blackrock by filing an Ethereum ETF. And I think the way that they're thinking is like, hey, we got a Bitcoin ETF, we have an Ethereum futures ETF. We're basically getting this Bitcoin ETF because the futures ETF forces the SEC into a hard position. So let's push our advantage. And I think that is the right way to go. They already have Gary Gensler and the SEC in a corner. They got him by the balls. So why not squeeze even harder? And they're definitely pushing it this time, but I think they'll get what they want because the court has already ruled against the SEC once, and I don't doubt they'll rule against the SEC again for very similar reasons. So Fidelity Investments has filed for a spot Ethereum exchange traded fund as seen in a filing with the SEC on November 17th. CBOE's BZX submitted a 19B4 filing describing a proposed rule change that will allow it to list and trade shares of Fidelity's planned fund. The new Ethereum proposal clearly resembles Fidelity's spot Bitcoin ETF proposal. It should be the exact same as Fidelity's spot Bitcoin ETF proposal because it's probably being prepared on the same grounds with the same custodian. I'm sure Coinbase is more than able to do both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and if they don't want Coinbase, they can always use Kraken and other things. So both Fidelity filings show similar applications from the company's main competitor. So BlackRock is, well, I wouldn't say BlackRock's the leader. I would say Grayscale's the actual leader. They're always the ones to file it first. BlackRock is second, and Fidelity is just following BlackRock, being the second biggest asset manager out there. So basically, like Fidelity has 4.2 trillion under management, BlackRock has 9 trillion, and the other multi-trillion-dollar asset managers are probably going to follow suit because they've all filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF. So they obviously don't want to lag behind in the spot Ethereum ETF. And they're all going to get it. So not are we only going to get like 10 spot Bitcoin ETFs, we're all going to get 10 spot Ethereum ETFs, within the next year or so. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking about other altcoin ETFs. I don't really think you're going to get them for another year or two. I don't think the liquidity and the demand is actually there. So I don't think they're actually going to be offered. I could be wrong about that. I think they're going to roll them all into like a large cap fund like Grayscale has. Wouldn't be surprised if Grayscale tried to convert that one into an ETF as well, as I've said before. But very, very good news. The SEC is actively engaging with exchanges, not only the filers like Blackrock and Fidelity, telling them to prepare for a Bitcoin ETF, and Fidelity has filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which makes 3 on the docket. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.